May I speak with the subconscious?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, I wanted to ask just about the Ascension again, because I understand that everyone have different timelines, but I also hear that some people feels like they're going to move to the new earth very soon, that there is something that is happening soon, and some people I hear that they have like more years to work here and do things on the earth.
Yes.
Can you elaborate about that?
Yes. So again, there are many aspects to this. You may have felt the energy waves. She certainly has.
Mm-hmm.
Now those energy waves, how may we explain? There's a certain curvature to them. There's a certain, I think your scientists explain it well enough, how light curves around certain densities, how what may seem like a stream of light originates from a single point.
Let's take another deep breath, just let the sound finish and then we can hear you better. Yeah, very good. Okay, so may you repeat a little bit again this concept about this light?
There's the same way that time isn't linear. Dimensions are not linear either. The 3 dimensions you're used to, but onwards and above as well. We're not finding the right analogy.
Okay.
The idea is that there are the earth processes are too dramatic and not quite as this is. Maybe if you think of dawn before the sun rises, that could be all right. Now, dawn as the sun rises will be very short in certain parts of the world, and then the sun will be up. Dawn in certain parts of the world will be very long before the sun goes up. And yet it's the same sun, and it's at the same time that it rises. It just is perceived differently in different places. That is the same with people and their ascension. And that event that you all talk of, it will be the same. It has been the same event. It is just perceived in a different way. And just the same way that at dawn, before the sun rises, that starting point is at different times for different parts of the world. The same is true in the sunsets and the dusk. So someone near the equator will see a sunset and it will be set at 6 p.m., for example. Someone in the northern hemisphere in the summertime, the sun will set and dusk will keep going till 11 midnight. Some places they still see that effect for days on end. It is a little abstract and not quite as we would ideally describe it, but that is all we can grasp from her mind right now.
That's wonderful. You did amazing, and I really feel like that was helpful to understand.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I love you so much for doing this effort to help us understand this broad concept.
It's all perception.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe you will say it better than has been said here. But the sun rises every time, no matter what. It's just at different times and different perceptions of how it rises for different places in the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I going through the questions, trying to see if there's anything that I missed. Anything that's important to remind her. Anything that you find will bring healing for her. Is there anything else would you like to answer
Just
questions?
remind her that she needs to be present in every moment, even if the moment is to connect to the unseen world. That is being present in that moment. But that when she decides to connect to Gaia or the humans in front of her, to be fully present there too. There's no need to be with her conscious mind in all places at once, for her soul does that anyway. Yes.
I actually have two topics that came up.
Okay.
So one was about the betrayal, that she sometimes have an energy of that. Is that gone from all the work that we did today, or if there's anything left over that can be released?
Let's see. Okay, the physical aspect in her shoulder, neck and shoulder is gone.
Mental? Any layers? Any timelines? Outside, inside? Above, below?
Beautiful. You learn fast. Yes. See, and you say this, and we find it. It's held somewhere else.
Okay.
Let's bring those parts back in.
Okay.
Feel those parts. There. Better.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm.
And the other thing was the integration of both her professions and the healing work. Is there anything about that that can help her? I remember vaguely that you answered about that, but if there's something more precise that she can kind of have a glimpse of what it's going to be like.
We would say that she can start paying a little bit more attention about crystals. Okay. She learned about them from a geological perspective many years ago, and it did not appeal to her in that form. She's rediscovering their healing power now, and that is incredibly beautiful. Now, there is an aspect of yes, and the thing is that she doesn't want to do this in this life, but it may spark interest in others, so we will share it with you.
Thank you.
There is an aspect of the crystal molecular structure that can be studied that will, over time, as an intuitive describes how they feel about a crystal, and someone studies them in lab form under microscope or refraction methods, they will be able to identify certain feelings based on certain structures. Now that's a big endeavor for something that's not proven as valuable by the mainstream media, and that is some of the aspects that can easily be swayed aside, but you are not headed in a direction that will bring, we want to say, the downfall. You are in a different place now, where this can be said with such ease.
Yeah, so it's safe to retrieve this knowledge.
Yes, and it was knowledge from the Atlantis, quite possibly.
Yeah.
Let's say Atlantis. Lemuria comes up, but
Lemuria.
The intuitive part of Lemuria comes up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Is there anything else would you like to tell her before we finish?
She is doing great. She is fine as she is. She doesn't need to look outside. She keeps trying to look outside herself for answers, but she doesn't need that. That is why we are being so tight-lipped today, because that is part of her process. We know we have given what needed to be given outside of her, but the rest is within.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to just make sure now all the healing is done and everything is sealed and everything is crystal clear from what
Yes.
it's been done.
Yeah.
Thank you. And may I ask for if there's any message for me, if any of my guides or you guys want to give me any message?
Well, we have given you a tool to explore with, and we would say at this point that you do so with curiosity until deep down you fully grasp the interconnection of your being with others, and how your being is in others, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That is true whenever you eat food, whether animals or not. It is obviously true of partnerships. And I think it's going to the depth, the breadth of your work will the reaches will be so much greater.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just starting to sense this concept and get some glimpse of what do you mean by that and how to work with it. But as something that is more, I would say, practical practice, is there any other way you can express it in a practical way to sense the subtleties of those things?
Do you feel your heart?
Yeah, a little pain right now.
Well, that is, are you used to feeling the frequency of your heart? Is what we were asking.
I believe I practice that.
Yes. Now, do you feel the heart of your partner?
Yes.
All right. So, there is a certain moment, well, for example, when you enter a room and he is in there, there's a certain moment in which, this is too abstract still. We will finish the thought, but we will go to another after.
Thank you.
Where your awareness of him and his awareness of you puts you both in a heightened level of coherence. Now, because you are so connected, you already are in that state most all the time, whether in the same room or not. But there's a certain sense of expansion. Now, that is where someone that you love. Now, assuming, and we know this to be true, but assuming that you love your own self,
Mm-hmm.
There will be a certain sense of recognition, somewhat similar to that, if you're faced with an aspect of yourself. So the idea would be to look for that aspect of yourself in others. Now, it is part of some of the Buddhist teachings. It is part of a lot of the mindfulness teachings, and quite frankly, even all religious teachings. But this is, if you envision it as a physical piece of you, you carved out a little piece of your laughter and a little piece of your heart, and you planted it into the pot of your plant, for example. There is going to be a resonance there. And we keep going back to plants because we feel you will notice it in plants more so. However, the easiest way for you to grasp that from an external perspective, not from your own self, where you will need to, it is an experiential learning, but for you to realize it is happening all around you is, for example, if you watch a TV show that you really like, and one of the characters says something in a certain way, or has a certain mimic, the way they smirk, the way that they hold their hand on their hip, whatever it may be. After watching it for some time, it is something you internalize and becomes part of you. Or you may find yourself holding your hand on your hip in the exact same way. That is the exchange that we're talking about.
So not my that. Goal...
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask if, so my goal with that recognition, do I want to strengthen that, or do I want to retrieve that? What is my interaction with that understanding of this interconnection?
For you, it's a sense of awareness, where you can go through the process as you did just now, without fully grasping outside and under and above. For it is like a key unlocking a process. So you can do that without fully sensing it. But because you have this fantastic reach, it would be a mindfulness practice for you of sorts. What do I recognize in that person that is me? And now from those Buddhist teachings, it is simply this other person is a human and I am a human, hence we are the same. But what you may find in terms of your deeper truths is you may find, wow, that was me. I would have said just that. I feel like that was my thought. I sensed that was a mirror of my smile. And in sensing that, you're going to be able to grasp it better, the infinity that is you. And you start with one person and you expand to 2 people and you expand to 10 people until it becomes a habit for you to know that not only are people reflections of you, but specks of yourself are within them as well.
Yeah, okay.